Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have the Midnight Masquerade Maleficent, which is the first in the series of limited edition Masquerade, the dolls from the Disney store. So as you can see over there in the box, it has number 1 of 5200. So in the front of the box there you have the artwork of Maleficent as she appears in the doll, and also the mask design of the actual doll itself as well. So as you go to the back right there, you see a continuation of the artwork. You can see a little bit of her sketch of her hand right there, and in the back you have a full color sketch of the concept of the doll. Although I just noticed recently that actually the doll's concept was actually made first, and the illustrations were actually done later. So it's sort of not an exaggerated version, but definitely an idealized version of the finished doll. So there's a little bit of a glare there, but if you once I kind of move it around, you can see the her face right there. She has a bit of a sort of like a shawl going on right there, and also the dress is very reminiscent of her original dress, which has shades of purples and magentas, and you can see a little bit of the crow's head drawn on the sketch right there, which is actually used in the actual doll itself. And she has a lot of thunder and lightnings, which is kind of odd, which since she's most associated with her fires and thorns, so maybe those are thorns instead of lightnings. So yeah, I'm pretty sure right there. So as we come back to the front again, we can open this both layers up, and as you can see, it reveals the dolls right there. So to be honest, when I first saw this doll, I wasn't completely convinced by the actual concept. It looks too simple for me. But you know, when you receive it, the box itself is actually almost as the size of the 17-inch doll. So they're pretty tall. So it's actually larger when you receive it in person. So yeah, I'm definitely kind of not blown away, but definitely, I was kind of like lowering my expectations before this doll arrived, but she really kind of turned my mind a little bit. I kind of like her afterwards. So I'm gonna quickly remove the front lid right here, so you can get rid of the glare a little bit. So just hang with me a little bit. So I'm just gonna put her down like this. It's very easy to remove, which is why I decided to just kind of remove it on camera, because I know other limited edition dolls, they can be hard to remove, but this is just one layer. So just hang with me right there. There you go. It's just like that. All right. So as I move her back up, you can see Maleficent in all her glory. Get closer right there, you can see the face is actually reused from the original Maleficent designer collection back in 2012, which I didn't get as well, but I got actually Mother Gothel and Cruella de Vil from that collection. But you also notice that her hair was a reminiscent design from that designer collection as well, but I do believe they really learned their lesson from that doll, and they really spruce up the design, since on that one I think the hair buns were too close together and they're too straight and they're not pointed enough. But on this one is actually they're kind of like spread apart a little bit, and they're slightly curved, and on the top is actually it's more pointed. So it kind of looks more like horns this time. So it's not as bad, and she doesn't look as if she has a bunny ears or something like that. But the face overall, it's I believe maybe the same mold that they use for that doll. So around her shoulder, she has this kind of like, I don't really know what it is, like a collar piece. I mean, it's made out of a rubber material, but I don't really know what kind of concept they're kind of going for. I guess it's sort of her raven sort of kind of like swooping over her. As you can see, this kind of like, I don't know if it's a talon or it's part of his wing right there, but it just sort of starts there and just kind of ends right there with the raven's head perched around the shoulder, which is kind of appropriate since in the movie the raven is always perched on her shoulders as well. So she has this kind of like metal chain right there around her neck, and I think that's to keep this kind of like cape in place, which is, the cape is sort of like a slash, I don't know how you say it, like a shawl or something, because it's not a full cape, it's just on the two ends right there, and on the back of her there's actually nothing over there, so it's just extending on two sides. But the one thing I was really surprised about was that when you actually got this in person, she actually has this kind of like a snake leather type of texture on the back of her cape, which is not shown in the promotional photos or even her artwork. You know, it wasn't mentioned at all, so it was kind of like a little surprise for the collectors really when they got this doll in person. And of course, you know, it kind of brings it back to her dragon transformation at the end of the movie. A lot of people complain that she doesn't have enough green, but personally, I think it's appropriate that she doesn't, since the color scheme is meant to recreate her iconic look from the film, and the flames is sort of like an accessory to her. So I believe putting her dress into this part into a green color wouldn't actually go really well if you sort of like display her on her own, because in the original she always wear mostly magentas or purples and blacks in her outfit. So as we move on to her other accessories, she has the mask, which I believe is designed to look like, again, the raven's wings, sort of like the I'm not sure, that's not a talon, but I believe that's one of the things that the top of a raven's wings usually have, those kind of like two talons. They're kind of interconnected together. I kind of like that design going on there. And of course you have the iconic horns to kind of like remind you of the original horns, because you know all she has are those two hair buns right there. And it's actually you can attach it by kind of like tying these strings in the back. And as we move on to her, I guess, corset slash bodice, she has a sort of like a leather material for her bodice, which kind of reminds me of like a biker jacket type of thing. So she's this sort of like goth biker type of girl, which is I guess appropriate for a modern revisionist version of her character. So as we go down to her skirt, we see more of this kind of like leather material, and on the inside is actually it's a very thin satin, which it's not too bad, but the whole material is pretty thin. I expected the leather to be thicker, you know, but this one is actually really, really thin. So it's kind of fragile, and you don't want to keep it in a very, I would say, humid temperature, because the leather might start to crack a little bit. So it's best to keep it in a very dry temperature. She also has this kind of like really shimmery. Well, on the front it's kind of shimmery. It's like an extra layer to her clothes, but on the back it's actually a full-on another leather type of like train, which is, if you can see, there's a little bit of a button right there. It's kind of connected, I guess, to her back right there. and it kind of gives you the full illusion of her original outfit, which has this kind of like bat wing type of shape on the bottom. And of course she has this high slit dress which reveals her, you know, just simple high heels, but then again, you know, in the movie we never see her in her shoes. And also with this look, her shoes is not that important, so I don't really have a huge complaint on her shoes technically, since we don't really have to see it. So the one thing I'm kind of complaining about is that her height, the height of this doll, and actually all of the female dolls in this series in general, except for Hades, I suppose, they're all a little bit short, which is why I guess the package designer has to put her on this kind of like plastic pedestal to make her seem taller. I mean, it works if you keep her in the box as a display, because you know most of the boxes interior is very dark, so you don't really get to see where her feet sort of like touches the ground, and the shadow of it all just kind of gives you the illusion that she's taller. But once you take her out of the box, she just kind of seems a lot shorter. Of course, all of that is judged from the photos, and once I see her in person, she's actually sort of like the appropriate proportion actually for a regular like female doll. So her head doesn't actually seem too big. I haven't received Lady Tremaine yet, but I've been seeing a lot of photos that Lady Tremaine's head looks too big compared to the rest of her body, so we'll see about that. But overall, that's pretty much it. I guess I can just point out that the background of the doll right here is kind of like this shimmering purpley bluish color. It has a bit of a green as well. I don't know how they kind of customized that, because I believe on Lady Tremaine, which I haven't received but I've seen the photos, they have a greenish color on the background, which is pretty cool that they're able to customize that. So that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed this review. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.